Dear friends, an epidemiologist, a virologist, a public health expert, I am not. Confined for more than 20 days now in Shanghai, with limited access to food, and after many testing rounds, I can simply comment on a situation that I am experiencing directly. Through the traditional or new media, I am aware of the sufferings, frustrations, anxiety that this lockdown means for millions. It has also created human tragedies. I would like to share 7 remarks. First, I am not in a position to seriously elaborate on the general policy that has been applied in Shanghai since March 28th. It has temporarily changed my life, but to think that I would have an impact on it would be illusory. Should I have to assess whether or not it is the best possible policy given the Chinese context, I would like the necessary data, information on vaccination levels, effectiveness of the vaccine, the availability of antiviral medication, and a comprehensive picture of the Chinese healthcare system. However, as an element of comparison, one should remember that while the US has a critical care bed capacity of 35 per 100,000 inhabitants, France has 12, China 4. You have noticed that India's official number of deaths from COVID is 520,000. The World Health Organization believes it is 4 million. The figure for China is 4,641. Obviously, after the return to normality, one will have to elucidate the causes of the mismanagement that often occurred in the implementation of the zero-COVID strategy in Shanghai. Because the negligence happened in China's economic capital, it has generated even greater surprise and dismay. However, one can understand that with the decision to lock down a city of 25 million inhabitants, more than 10 Paris, immense challenges in relation with logistics emerge. The fact that Shanghai, supported by the central government, was basically able to cope with them will have also to be studied. Second, concrete modalities to fight COVID-19 differ from one nation to another since they do not share the same demographic feature nor the same resources. But the success of each country is needed, and especially a country of 1.4 billion people. Much beyond the negative impacts on the global supply chain, the downward pressures on the world's second largest economy, by having the virus circulating widely in China, the risk of having the emergence of new variants increases. To instrumentalize the pandemic for short-term political gains is simply irresponsible. It is international cooperation that should guide our actions. Third, some expatriates have left Shanghai during the lockdown crisis. More will follow when an increased number of flights is available. Expecting Shanghai and China to reconnect fast with economic dynamism in the aftermath of the Omicron shock, it is reasonable to anticipate that the Yangtze Delta's metropolis will regain its attractiveness. The equation is simple. While international talents are needed for countries to thrive in the 21st century, failure keeps them away, success attracts their curiosity. Fourth, as shown by the short 11 months that it took to develop vaccines or the use of new type of vaccine like the mRNA, mankind is facing a pandemic with unprecedented technological tools at its disposal. Thanks to our phones, codes are scanned, test results stored, health status signaled. Confined in the physical realm, we have migrated to the cyberspace to interact, work, and learn. A caveat should be nonetheless introduced. In Birth of the Clinic, Michel Foucault evoked the link between pandemics and police. Technological advancement can certainly cure, but it can also take the capacity to control population to unprecedented level. Fifth, from a personal perspective, it is clearly a moment to strengthen our resilience. Psychologists explain that understanding of critical situations is one of the elements that nurture resilience. Therefore, organizing our thoughts on the crisis might be good for us. It also introduces to the fact that at different levels, what has been lacking since the start of the lockdown is an appropriate communication on the dynamics at play. At my community level, an apt summary would be instructions without contextualization. 6. A foreign individual is clearly not in a position to influence public policies in China. However, true leadership starts with the command of oneself, avoiding to react with emotions, making the effort to comprehend the state of affairs, and the capacity to stay within the limits of rationality. These are the marks of someone in control of oneself. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote for his own guidance and self-improvement. I quote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Unquote. Finally, to interpret the pandemic, some made a reference to the concept of total social fact coined by the sociologist Marcel Mauss. I do not think it is appropriate. The pandemic and the reaction to it cannot be interpreted as a permanent mechanism structuring our societies. However, like each profound crisis, it reveals the strengths and weaknesses of our societies at a given time. The conclusion of Mauss' influential essay, The Gift, is nonetheless inspiring. I quote, "Give as much as you take. All will be good." Unquote. Even through very few social interactions in the past 20 days, I have been fortunate to witness the gift phenomenon. Small benevolent gestures, smiles evading the severity of the masks, calm courtesy among strident and sometimes erratic injunctions, are in the circumstances sources of harmony and inner peace. Let us give as much as we can. Someone will give back in a way or another. Life goes on, and remember to always expect the unexpected.